Hey, it's Kyla. Welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about all the books that I read in March and April. I did not do a wrap up in March and I thought why not just put March and April together. I will say I probably will fly through all the books that I read in March. I do have 8 of them to talk about. It's been so long since I've read the book, so I remember a lot of it, but I also don't remember a lot of it. If I fly through March books, I'm sorry. April books, I have a lot more to talk about with those just because they're more fresh on my mind. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and get started with this video because I have 17 books to talk about today and I want to get into it. First book I'm going to talk about is A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J Maas. I did give this book a 5 stars. Can't really say too much about this book just because it's part of the ACOTAR series. You have to read the ACOTAR series to get to this point. The books before this is A Court of Thorns and Roses, A Court of Mist and Fury, and then you have Wings and Ruin. The perfect word to describe this book is just war. Just so much war is going on. Can't really talk much about this book because it will spoil things. So this is the first one. So the next book that I have is A Court of Frost and Starlight, also by Sarah J Maas. This is the little novella that you read in between the ACOTAR series, because you have ACOTAR, which basically follows Farah, and then you have Akasif, which is Silver Flames, and that starts to follow more Nesta and her sisters and stuff. So this is a cute little novella. I honestly think this novella perfectly bridges the gap between ACOWAR and Akasif. You get the kind of insight of the holidays with them. I honestly think that this book perfectly sets up A Court of Silver Flames, just with Nesta and everything that's going on in her life. You get to see that in this. You get to see everyone where they are at. I did really enjoy it. If you are going to read the series, definitely pick up the novella. Again, can't really talk much about it. So the next book that I read is actually one that I read on my Kindle, and that is The Brightest Light of Sunshine. I do remember this book quite a bit. I gave this book a 3 stars. I didn't love it, but I didn't enjoy it, but I also didn't hate it. This book follows Grace and Cal. Grace is a 22-year-old ballerina. She teaches dance. She's also in college, and she meets this tattoo artist named Cal. Cal has a little sister who's 4 years old. He's also 30. And they meet one day because he goes to pick up his little sister at a ballet class, and she is the instructor. And honestly, they're really cute. I really did enjoy their relationship. I enjoyed the 2 characters, just their connection, and I loved Cal's little sister so much. But this book mainly follows Grace and everything that she is going through. Definitely look up the trigger warnings for this book just because it is so mature with that. I don't know what it was about this book that I didn't like, but I just remember I really wasn't in love with it. I don't know if it was because I was in a reading slump because I had just finished the ACOTAR series. I really couldn't pick up anything, and this was the first book that I could pick up. Again, I also just didn't love. I wasn't obsessed with this book. So is it a good little read? Yeah. I wouldn't really recommend it though. I just didn't care for it. So the next one I picked up this month is The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levenseller. I gave this book a 4 stars. This is just a super quick read. I honestly really enjoyed this book a lot. It is an enemies to lovers fantasy romance, which is always amazing. You are following this woman who goes to the Shadow Court to go see the Shadow King and kind of win him over so then she could kill him and take over everything. It was really interesting because you get that as the main plot point, which it definitely is, but there's also other things that happen in this book that I was just okay, I really was not expecting that, but it also made the book so much better not knowing that you were gonna end up getting that. I just need a book like this. It was a quick fantasy romance. It was under 350 pages, perfect size, plot just moves so fast, you jump right on into everything, and this is exactly what I needed to get out of my reading slump because I could not pick up anything after ACOTAR. It was so hard. So yeah, I did really enjoy this book. My friend told me to read this and I'm so glad that I did because it was so freaking good. So the next one is another Kindle read. I honestly forgot that I read this book, so probably won't say much about it, and that is First Down. I think this is by Grace Riley. I'm not entirely sure, do not quote me on that. I did give this book a 3 stars. I just remember it being about a football player and this girl who ends up tutoring him. Didn't love it, didn't hate it. Again, just kind of a mid book. I don't think I was really enjoying any regular romances. I was just so in a fantasy mood, I couldn't pick up any other romances. All I wanted was fantasy romance. That's really all I wanted. So that's all that I really read. Don't really have much to say about this one because I don't remember it. It was just a sports romance, which I usually really love those. I just couldn't pick them up. So the next book that I did read is, again, A Court of Mist and Fury. I did just read this book in, what was it, February? Like I literally read at the end of February, and I picked it up again in March. I actually listened to the graphic audio version of this book. Basically, the graphic audio version of this book is like every single character has a voice actor. It's like a movie in your mind. Like you can actually, like, I don't know. The experience of this was just so different than like listening to the other audiobooks. I really enjoyed listening to the graphic audio book of this. I did give it a 5 stars, and I really want to pick up A Court of Thorns and Roses, like the first book of this series, and listen to that as a graphic audio version, because they have every single book up until the blue one, Frost and Starlight, and I believe that they are working on Silver Flames right now, or they're trying to get like funding for it. Actually, you know what? I know that they're working on it because it comes out in June and July. Part 1 comes out in June and Part 2 comes out in July, so like definitely gonna get that as soon as I can. Love this book. It's my favorite one. So freaking good. Alright, the next one is another one of the ACOTAR series, and that is going to be A Court of Silver Flames. I love this book. Oh my gosh. I'm sure that you guys have heard so much about this book. I really want to get the orange one. I do love the black one. I think it is beautiful. I got this edition off of Barnes & Nobles. I do want the orange one because orange is my favorite color. Yeah, I need the orange one. I did read this. It was so good. It basically is Nesta's book. Her character development in this book, oh my gosh. I don't know what it is about her, but like I relate to Nesta so much, and I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but like just I can resonate with her character so much for whatever reason that there is. It is in third person, but I actually quite like that because not only are you getting what Nesta is thinking, you're also getting what Cassian is thinking and all these other characters, and you get to just see so much more than you can whenever it was just like in Farrah's point of view. I did really enjoy this book. I thought it was so good, and I wish that there was more to it. It's already like a 700-page thick book, but I did love it so much. I'm just ready for the next ACOTAR book to come out, even though I know I need to read Throne of Glass and Crescent City. Just want more. And then the last book that I read in March is Addicted After All by Krista and Becca Ritchie. I did give this book 4 stars, which I know it's the last one of the Addicted series. I just feel the pressure that I should have rated this book so much higher than what I did. Like 4 stars to me feels low for this series because everybody loves it so much. But like I just didn't enjoy this book. I don't know if it was because, like, as I said, I'm in a fantasy kick. All I want to read is fantasy or what, but like I just could, like, I love this book. I did enjoy reading it, but like I don't know, just the vibes weren't there the entire time, and I don't know, at some point of this book I was just like, wow, there's really nothing going on here. Like there really is no plot. Like you're just following these characters around, and I just got bored of that, honestly. After reading fantasy, trying to go back into the series was just so hard for me. I do still really enjoy these characters. I love Lily, I love Lauren, I love Reich, Daisy, and I love Rose and Connor so much. I really do enjoy this series. Just this book, it just felt like nothing was going on, and the plot that kind of was there, I didn't enjoy it. I'm really hoping that Field of Fire and Long Way Down are a lot better and they have a lot more that's going on. But yeah, I just didn't love this book. Yeah, there we go. All the books that I read in March are right there. Now we're gonna get into all of the April books that I read this month. I'm gonna have a lot more to talk about them because again, most of these books are just a part of series. Can't really give you the plot summaries. Don't really remember them. But now we're gonna get into April books, which I can talk a lot more about. So the first one is going to be Flawless by Elsie Silver. I read all of these books, like this entire series, on my Kindle, and then I had to buy them. Like I literally was just like, okay, I have to get these books. These are cowboy romances. In this book you have Summer and Rhett. Summer's father is Rhett's manager. Rhett is a bull rider, and Summer's father tells Summer like, hey, go be with this cowboy rider, or like whatever he is, and you need to make sure that his image is kept clean. So she goes and moves in with him like on his ranch, and like kind of goes with him around all the rodeos that they do to help him like keep up his image. And really, Rhett wasn't that bad of a dude. Like he said one thing and lost like a sponsorship because he didn't like milk. Like his entire thing was about him not liking milk. It was so stupid. But in this book you just get kind of a workplace enemies to lovers. Like it's not enemies to lovers. It's more just like, I don't really want to be around you but I am kind of thing. Yeah, not too much bad blood or anything like that. I did really enjoy this book. I gave this book a 4 stars. I thought it was so good. I really want to go through this entire book and like annotate it. I loved it so much. It was really freaking good. This next one of the series though, it's my absolute favorite, and that is Heartless, Willa and Cade. So cute. Oh my gosh. So Willa is Summer's best friend from her hometown, and Cade is Rhett's brother, and Cade is also a single father, basically maintains the ranch and does all this kind of stuff. And Cade is like, okay, I need like a nanny, a summer nanny for my son, who's like I think 5 or 6 or something like that. And Willa is looking for a job, so Summer basically tells Cade like, hey, my best friend needs a job, she'll be great at it, like it'll be fine. So Willa moves in with Cade and his son to like nanny the kid and like take care of him and everything, because Cade is like always working on the ranch for his proximity. So good. Oh my gosh. Their banter in this book really drove the entire freaking book. It was so good. The moment that they met, they were like at each other's throats, but in like a I love you kind of way. Like obviously they didn't love each other because it wasn't love at first sight, but like they grew to really learn how to work together and take care of this kid together, who is like Cade's kid. It was just so amazing. Like I don't really like kids in books. I don't really care for them. Like I don't hate it, but I'm just like, okay, they're there. Just everything about this book was just so good. Like it's literally my favorite. I rated it 5 stars. I want to reread this one. I probably am going to reread it this month just because I loved it so much. It was so freaking good. This book started my cowboy obsession. Genuinely. So, and then the last one of this series that I read is Powerless. This one's basically childhood best friends to lovers. This follows Sloane and Jasper. Where this book basically picks up is at a dinner that Sloane's at for her fiance, and she invites Jasper because she's like, okay, I can't go to this thing alone. And her and Jasper haven't really talked that much in the past few years, but he goes with her. Sloane's fiance is a complete jerk. We hate him, and Jasper and Sloane end up like leaving the dinner early just because Sloane's fiance is just such a prick. And then we get into like the wedding, and like something happened in Jasper's life, and they kind of run away together. I wouldn't say they run away together, but they leave the state to go on like this road trip to complete something that like Jasper's family asked him to do. Like they're bringing something to like some of their family members, and Sloane and Jasper are like, oh my gosh, I need out of this town, so yes, we will go, basically just avoiding their problems. I did love this book. The one complaint that I have about this is that Jasper isn't really like their brother. Like he's like basically the adoptive brother. Like his parents, something happened with his parents that you learn, and then like this family basically takes him in as like one of their own, and Sloane is actually like their blood related cousin. Their cousin, I don't like saying that because like they're not blood related. They grew up each other since they were like 13. It's really weird, and I don't like how everybody's like, oh my gosh, your cousin. Like Jasper's brothers call Sloane like their cousin, like Jasper's cousin. Don't say that. Just say that they're best friends, please. I did enjoy this book, despite that one thing which I am purposely ignoring. I really like this one. I also can't wait for the next one to come out, which is Reckless. That one. Oh my gosh, I'm so ready for it. Next one that I read was actually a Kindle read, and that is Return to Us by Corinne Michaels. I don't remember much about this book. I gave it a 2 stars. In all caps, I said they just wouldn't communicate or commit to each other, and it was really annoying because I guess the 2 main characters, who are Grayson and Jessica, they just weren't communicating. They wouldn't commit to each other. They kept on going back and forth with each other. Oh, it's like kind of coming back to me now. They were really annoying. They were also just like children. Like I really did not like this book. I don't even know why I finished it. I didn't like this. I did try to continue the series. I just couldn't get into the rest of it. Probably will not be finishing that series, but I did give it a shot. But the next book that I read, oh my gosh, it's so freaking good, and that is Love Letters to Whiskey by Candy Steiner. I posted a full freaking review on my Bookstagram on this. I also like annotated the absolute crap out of this book. Just like flipping through it, I could open up to any page and there's going to be some kind of annotation. Like I love this book so much. So this was my second time reading this book. I read it January of 2022. So I picked it up April of 2023. I meant to read it in January to like read it every January or something, but that did not happen. This book follows Bea and Jamie. They have known each other since they were 16, and in this book you kind of get to see them grow up. You get to see them go from like being 16-year-olds to like 30-year-olds, and then you get to see them like all throughout high school and college and just like after college life. This book is the definition of right person, wrong time, like 3 different times. I just love this book. I just love how raw this book is. Like these characters do things where like in real life situation I absolutely do not agree with. Reading about it and just reading how much these characters love each other and just like everything that they go through, and just there's just something about this book. There's something in this book that is just magical. I don't know what it is. I cannot explain it to you. but I love this book beyond belief. It's more than a 5 stars. It's like 6 stars, infinity stars kind of book for me. Like A Court of Mist and Fury, that's like, oh my gosh, so good. Infinity, 6 stars. So is this book. Like, it's just so freaking good. That's all I'm gonna say. I can't, like, it's just so beautiful. Just like look at it. It's so great. The next book that I read was 1,000 Heartbeats by Kiara Cass. Kiara Cass also wrote the Selection series, which is one of my favorite series of all time. I didn't love this book as much as I wanted to. I did get the signed version of this book. I was really hoping to like be obsessed with this book and love it as much as I did for the Selection series, because it is that kind of royalty kind of thing. Basically, you're following this girl Annika, and then there's this guy Lennox. They come from 2 different like countries. So like Annika's a princess in one country, and Lennox, he isn't like a prince or anything. He's kind of just like a warrior type person of this other country that wants to take over the one that Annika lives in, because they're like, oh, we actually have this land and you shouldn't have it. Politics stuff that I don't really understand, but whatever. So it is like a forbidden romance, but like it was kind of love at first sight. I did give this book a 3 stars. I did like Lennox and Annika's connection and just like how they got to know more of each other so they could actually like have that connection. Like the whole entire part where they're kind of stuck together, I did really enjoy that. Really thought Lennox was going to be more of like a rugged kind of like, I'm a warrior, don't mess with me, kind of more grumpy. But he's a really soft guy for being like the top warrior type person of his country and everything. I was like, that kind of doesn't match up with like his rank, but like I guess so. I mean, like it doesn't match up in the way that like you think like other things would. I mean, I don't really know. I just didn't love it. I wanted to so bad. I did really want to love it, but I just didn't. I do think it's worth the read though. I just wouldn't like buy the hardback. I would probably read it on Kindle Unlimited, or if you can get it on Libby or like your library, do that. The next 2 books that I read on Kindle Unlimited. I definitely am going to be buying these paperbacks as soon as I can because it was just so freaking good. So the first book is Lady of Darkness by Melissa Roerich. Don't know how to say that. I gave this book a 4.75 stars. Where do I even begin about this book? I don't know. So this is a 6-book fantasy series. This is like the first one in the series. My friend has been hounding me about reading this book for the longest time, and we went on vacation together and I was like, okay, I'll pick it up, I'll start reading it. Immediately fell in love with it. I can't really speak much about it because I'm like, there's so much that like you don't know you don't know a lot going into this book. You don't know even a lot reading it, but like towards the end and like as you're reading it, you're starting to piece things together. It starts to make sense. Honestly, the best part about this book is not knowing a lot about this book and figuring it out as you read. I really enjoyed the writing in that way. Like I thought it was so interesting. But this book follows Scarlett. Scarlett's kind of like this adoptive sister of, she's not a princess. I don't really know like what she is. She may be a princess, I don't know, but she lives basically with like the king of this land, or like the lord of this land. She feels like she's locked in a cage because she has to keep up with like appearances, but she's also this assassin as well, or like the assassin lord. And it's really interesting because you get to figure out like, okay, what kind of assassin is she, where does she actually come from, and like all these other types of things that you don't really understand, but as I said, you start to piece it together like little by little as you read it, which is really interesting. And throughout this book you meet this man named Riker, and you also like learn his story. He's like been there for 3 years kind of training these armies, and one day they just like cross paths because her friend Cassius and Riker work together, and like Cassius and her are basically soulmates, not in like a romantic way but like in a very platonic way. So Cassius like introduces them to each other, and immediately Scarlett's like, I don't really want to know you, I don't like you, blah blah blah, want nothing to do with you. And Riker's like very intrigued by that because he's like, what the heck, like who is this girl, she's so strong, yada yada yada. Yeah, I did really enjoy this book. I feel like I've said so much that you probably shouldn't have known, but oh well. Yeah, I really enjoyed this book. And then I went in immediately into the second one, which is Lady of Shadows. I gave this book a 5 stars. So good. Where the last book ends and where this one picks up, amazing. Also, the ending to this book, I have not picked up the next one yet, and it's been like 2 weeks because I'm like, I can't, like, how do I continue this series with what happened? Like, this series is honestly comparable to the ACOTAR series to me because it's so good, and because of like the characters and the plot and like the way that it's written. I really want to buy the books to this series because I just want to sit there and highlight and write in it, and just, I need the next book. I need to own it. Honestly, that's kind of why I'm waiting to read the next one, because I'm like, okay, I want the money so I can actually physically own the books, because that's how I want to read it, because it's so good. I definitely recommend this series. And the last book that we're going to talk about today is the first book of the Mortal Instruments series, and that is City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. I have finally picked up this series. A few years ago, I did pick up all 4 of these books. I think it was like a freshman in high school. I'm now a sophomore in college, so it's been a hot minute, so I'm reading all of them. I actually listened to this book on audio. I read it. I was listening to it as like I was at work and like driving to school and like walking around and all this kind of stuff. I give this book I feel like a 2 stars is too low, but a 3 stars is too high. I'm gonna give this book a 2.5. Did not enjoy this book at all. Like, I know for a fact the other ones are so much better than this one. I know they get better as they go, but like, I hate every single character in this book. I hate Clary. I hate Jace. I hate Simon literally so much. Alec is like tolerable, but barely. Isabel, I don't care for her. The voice actors who do Isabel, like, I don't like it. I don't like Hodge. I don't like the Clave. I don't like the parents. I don't like Luke. I don't like anybody in this book. There's not a single character in this book that I like other than Magnus. I love Magnus. He is my favorite, but that's about it. And we get him for like 2 chapters maybe. This book, if you don't know, follows Clary Frey. She thought she was just like this regular mundane, which is basically their word for like a regular mortal. And she finds out about the Shadow Hunter world. She goes to a club with her friend Simon whenever they're literally, she's still 15. Like, her birthday is in like 6 days at that point. She's not even 16 yet, but they end up going to like some kind of teenage club. She finds out about like the Shadow Hunter world. Something happens with her mom, and these people are like, oh my gosh, how can you see us? You're not like, you're a mundane. And she's like, I'm not a mundane, like obviously I can see you, like what is this world? She's really stupid. I really am hoping that the other books get better, because I don't like this one. I am going to continue the series though, just because like, I do want to read all of them. I do have all of the Mortal Instruments, and I do have the Infernal Devices. So, but yeah, that is the last book that I read in April, and these are all the books I read in March and April. I feel like I've been talking for absolutely forever, so I'm gonna go. I really hope that you guys enjoy this video. If you did, make sure to get a thumbs up, subscribe, and go follow me on both my Instagrams. But other than that, I will see you guys in my next video. I love you all, and peace out.